Want to welcome in for our alumni segment this week on This Week in the USHL, defenseman of the Springfield Falcons, a 2-year veteran of the USHL, John Moore.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here, and just taking a look at your resume and what you've done. A little bit of a different track from the USHL. I mean, so many players, over 250 of them currently have Division I commitments. You had an opportunity to play Division I hockey at Colorado College, but chose a different track. You went right on to the American Hockey League and had an opportunity earlier this year to play in the NHL. So it looks like you made the right move.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It was obviously a very tough decision to back out from Colorado College, but unfortunately I had to change my options there a little bit, and yeah, I'd like to think it has worked out for me, but really it's I just try to not look back, work hard every day, and I think my time in the USHL really prepared me well for here.
Well, when you look at your time in the USHL, it's an amazing story. You tried out, you were only a 16-year-old at the time, initially did not make a USHL roster, but when a spot opened up right in your backyard with the Chicago Steel, you jumped right in, and then I guess Mother Nature took over and you got a lot bigger and stronger.
Yeah, it's funny how that worked out. I tried out for the Steel earlier in the summer, and I was told I was pretty small. I was probably 5'8" and probably 150 pounds soaking wet. And
wow.
As it turned out, one of the players that was originally penciled in to be on the team ended up having a change of plans, and so a roster spot opened up. And that first year with Steve Pops, it was definitely there was a pretty big learning curve just because of my size and the size of the guys I was playing against. It was a pretty big eye opener, but Steve Pops and John Weibel really worked with me every day before and after practice, and as you said, Mother Nature took over, and I was pretty lucky. I grew quite a bit the summer going into my second season with the Steel, and was able to put on some weight too. And I guess all the pieces kind of fell into place.
Well, he certainly did. I mean, from just to consider that, from 5'8", 150 pounds, and currently, what, a 6'2", 200, is that accurate currently?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Oh, wow. That's quite a transformation, and as a result of that, your second year in the USHL, you were the Defenseman of the Year, a first-team All-Star, had 39 points in 57 games, and we often talk to guys, current players in the league, about a jump from year one to year two, and you were probably take that point exponentially in terms of what you did from year one to year two in the league.
Yeah, it was. I remember after my first year, I really thought to myself that the summer would be very crucial for me, and it was at the time in my career where off-ice training was very, very important at the level I was at, and so it's something I took a lot of pride in, but I was very fortunate and had a lot of luck to grow quite a bit, and I think I exceeded not only my expectations, but I think just about everyone's with the year I had coming back, and it was great, and I can't say enough about my teammates and my coaches there in Chicago.
And you came down close to making the NHL roster coming out of your first camp. You were sent to the OHL, so once again you had a different hockey experience to put on your resume.
Yeah, exactly. I went up to Kitchener in the Ontario Hockey League and played for Steve Spott up there, and it was a pretty good experience. I learned a lot and met a lot of interesting people, and it was obviously to play the amount of games they play up there was pretty beneficial to learning the ins and outs of the pro game, and made a lot of good friends, and it was a very good year.
Well, about roughly 7-8 weeks ago, you had an opportunity to make your NHL debut. First game, I'm sure, was exciting enough to play with the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I think the second game that you were up with the big club was probably a little bit more exciting, although maybe a little bit more wear and tear and distraction. I don't know how many tickets you had to come up with for that game in Chicago.
Yeah, the second one was everything the first one was, and probably then some. Playing in front of my family and friends in my hometown was an unbelievable experience, and a lot of the guys were joking that I was probably playing for free that night with all the tickets I had to purchase and everything. But it was an unbelievable night, and it's something I'll never forget. And a lot of people have asked me, what was that welcome to the NHL moment? And I would definitely say probably at the United Center, that the national anthem, just sitting there and looking out, seeing a packed building, was something I'll never forget.
A building that you grew up following hockey closely. You had an opportunity to get to know some all-time greats from Chicago and from the Chicago area. Eddie Olczyk and Steve Smith were a couple of guys that factored into your development.
Yeah, Eddie and Steve both coached me when I was coming up with Chicago Mission. I played with both of their sons on a team, and they helped out, and it was I stay in touch with both of them today, and I'm pretty good friends with Barron and Tommy, their sons. And as fate would have it, actually, Steve Smith is now a assistant coach at the Edmonton Oilers. So my first game, I remember he came up and said good luck and stuff. So just kind of crazy, small world. Your coach in Bantams is across the ice on your first NHL game.
Absolutely, and then to be able to come home with the second game, and I guess you had that rare opportunity after your second NHL game. Not many guys get to play in their hometown at any point, but you're fortunate enough, and it was almost like you were getting up with the alarm clock at 6 a.m. You get to jump in the car with your family and dad and your brother and drive home, and it's just everything but the nip in the air probably when you were getting up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. My brother actually had a game right before we played the Blackhawks that Friday night. So when I was at the stadium, I had just been sent down, and I was waiting for my dad to come pick me up. I was throwing my equipment in the back, and there's my brother's hockey equipment too. So we had a pretty good laugh. It was just like the old days. But and then to get up the next morning and get on my way out here to play a game, it definitely brought me back to my minor hockey days. But it was just an awesome experience.
You get to go home and sleep in your own bed. I don't know what were the posters on the wall. You can think about down the road. There'll be a kid will be sleeping underneath the John Moore poster down the road. There you were sleeping in your own bed as a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It was definitely sleeping in my own bed was a definite perk of the whole trip, I guess. But it was a really neat experience.
You had a couple of guys also we want to mention, actually a trio of guys that were in the second season of the USHL, were all sons of former NHL players. Dean Chelios, Philip Samuelson, and Alex Krushelinski all had dads in the NHL. So that must have helped a little bit with your preparation. Those guys knowing what the rigors of the whole experience was like from a second generation.
Yeah, definitely. There was no shortage of expertise in terms of the guys we had and their fathers, and they had all been through the ringer there, the NHL, and so they knew what was up. And actually, I lived with Philip Samuelson my second year in Chicago, so I got to know him and his family pretty well, and we stay in touch to this day. And his father, Ulf, obviously had a tremendous NHL career, and he offered me some advice here and there when he would come in and see Philip play. And even Chris Chelios, he was out for some time with a broken leg there that second year in Chicago, so he would be hobbling around the rink. But those are guys that you grow up watching, and then to see them and interact with them at a certain level was pretty cool.
Yeah, good experience all around. Currently with the Springfield Falcons and coming down the stretch run, how are things looking overall for you and the Falcons in the American League?
You know what? We've hit a bit of a rough patch here. We've kind of faltered ever since the trade deadline here. We kind of had a little setback. We lost some bodies, and unfortunately, I think we're 1-13 in our last 14 games. So it's been a little bit tough these last couple of weeks. But overall, it's been a very good year. I've definitely learned a lot, and I'd like to think I've learned a lot about the pro game and just get ready for another summer. I don't know if I have another 6 inches and 50 pounds in me, but who knows? So, but it's been a great year, and obviously getting the call up to the NHL has been good. Unfortunately, it looks like we won't be making the playoffs, but just hopefully have a good summer, come back here next year, and make it a little more interesting in terms of the playoffs.
Well, you've had a terrific year personally, despite the team struggles, having made it to the AHL All-Star game recently, and that'll just get you started a little bit sooner, John, on the off-ice dry land preparation for next year, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll be keeping an eye on you as you look to make it, and hopefully stick in the big show for next season with Columbus.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and thank you very much for having me.
Our alumni segment tonight, we want to thank John Moore, defenseman currently for the Springfield Falcons of the American Hockey League and a former USHL player, just a 20-year-old from Winnetka, Illinois, played 2 seasons in the USHL with the Chicago Steel before moving on to the pro ranks, having made his NHL debut back in February for the Columbus Blue Jackets.